Hello, let's do another entry in my Canadian short story project where I'm reading a list of Canadian short stories that was curated by Kevin Hardcastle. I think it's Hardcastle. I got it via the CBC and then I went to his website and he has 73 short stories to read while you're locked away due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This week I'm doing Esperanza by Trvr Crkm. This is from joylandmagazine.com. And so, yes, it is. The story says it's maybe not a parable. It's a vignette. Though it opens with talking about Christian miracles of Jesus walking on the water, or maybe Mother Teresa's strenuous dedication to feeding the poor, even though she may have been a fascist. So it is very much a vignette, like much like the story I did, the wild crocodile story. It's very much just like a single scene in a single room. These are the little slices of life kind of thing for a story. We're not going to do a whole big plot, try to cram it into a story. This one is a young man, and it's the narrator looking back on the story from saying this has happened a while ago, like before Barack Obama, and it's 18-year-old. And let's say in the story that I am the 18-year-old young man standing in front of the mirror, and that you, dear reader, are the middle-aged woman with a face that looks very much like the young man's who's standing behind him. And he is someone who is he's got his shirts off. He has a smooth concave addict's chest, so he's maybe not someone in the most healthy place. And through the course of the story, the woman's like, oh, and it seems to be set in it's maybe perhaps it's Spain. There's a lot of just the language, and there's a Vespa outside. Seems to be it's Spanish. The young man puts on a bra, padded to give him kind of a voluptuous bosom. Does the woman who seems to be his mother helps him with his makeup, and they have a memory of him lying in her arms in the grass when he was young. So it does seem to be that kind of maternal relationship. And at the end of it, he is transformed into, he says, a rubia, which, looking up, is a blonde. He's got the blonde wig and all the makeup. He's a rubia, buxom blonde woman. And the woman's like, you look, you look divine, is how she says it at the end. Divine, kind of clicking back to the start of the story where we're talking about, is this a parable, religious parable, or is this just a vignette? And it's sort of one of these things of, it's a transformation story. It is also, you start to question within the story itself, is this a memory of his mother helping him transform, or is this something of like a ghostly visitation? Was the mother even there? And indeed, the very end of the story, it just sort of it ends with her, because look, I'm talking about the whole story. It's a tiny little story. It ends with, after that, when everything else is done, you turn, collect your purse, and kissing me for the last time, and then you close the door behind you, slowly and without a fuss, so it makes only the softest click on your way out. It's like, is this like a departure of the soul? Like, has the mother died, and this is a divine departure, a visitation and a departure of the soul, and he has sort of taken on something. He is transformed. And it's interesting that I think about it, the story does a transformation thing. It's like, okay, I am this young man talking, but you, reader, I've transformed you into my mother in this story. You have transformed, and it's a story in which he transforms his appearance, going from the kind of the sallow-faced, concave chest young man to rubia, made up, transformed that way. So it is a nice little bittersweet story. I was kind of concerned when it does switch to that IU thing. It's like, oh, are we gonna how is that gonna work? Am I gonna resist that? But it actually feeds in well to the themes of the story. So yeah, yeah, I think I enjoyed this. I don't know if it's gonna sit with me forever, but I enjoyed that for that little short thing. So that's Esperanza by Trevor Corkum. More videos later.